What happens when two podcasts and five friends come together on a regular occurrence? It's not like these two podcasts have never met before. We have, under slightly different circumstances. Welcome to The Witching Hour, a collaboration between the Paranormal Patter podcast and the Everything Coincidental podcast. Here, we will be discussing our favourite paranormal events, from creepy goings-on, hauntings, unclassified cases, and all round everything weird and wonderful in the world of the paranormal.
All right. Welcome to the Jibber podcast meets Everything Coincidental, where we bring you the second edition of The Witching Hour. Not in the day with witches, really, unless one of you guys have a story about witches. Tonight we're going to... None? No. You sure?
Not tonight,
sure?
No.
I mean, we're all kind of married, so somebody's got a fucking story. Tonight we'll spend about an hour kind of chatting a bit back and forth about what's been going on in the world of paranormal and all that batter. So, without further ado, let's get fucking cracked into it. Put your hand up if you've got some cool stories to talk about this week on the Witching Hour.
Kevin! I kind of do.
Can he just be me, man?
I kind of do.
Can he? Aye. Right, well, I'll start then, right? And I'll give you guys time because I'm quite into this thing, right? So get this. There is this old theory, right? Not that old, but kind of old. I say kind of old because it was like an old theory, but only recently folk have started getting it because of it, right? So there's this thing called, and I think I sent you a wee TikTok, it's called the Serbian dancing lady, right? And it's this mad cat. She's dressed like a wee woman that's just gone to the shop to pick up some eggs and milk, right? But she's propagating at this in the street, right? And apparently, if you see her again at this in the street, she turns to you and stabs fuck at you. Deed, right? And wait. No. What? J-Mac, you look a bit shocked. What's up?
I like. I mean, your eloquence in telling the story is one thing. But yeah, please tell me more. To be fair, that just sounds like somebody on Spice.
Does it? She's on Ket.
Just what from Main Street on a Saturday night.
I know, right? I know. They're like, hey, if she sees you, you die. It's like, well, that's usually how it happens. If you get seen in the main street at a certain time of night, you end up dead. So they say her face has never been revealed, right? Because she's kind of just dancing away, getting all the hidden face patter, right? And then her movements are similar to a Serbian folk cola, right? Now, I don't think it's kind of cola you drink. So, Kieran, what's a folk cola?
I'm assuming a type of dance. I would imagine it's a type of folk rendition of mood, is what I'm going to call it.
Well, I'm going to go.
Or some incredibly tasty moves.
Well, it's just I can do it. She dances like this, and she's got a wee two-step thing going with her feet, right? So it's nothing too creative. No, the thing is, right? They say that when somebody spots her, she chibs you with a knife. Like, wait a minute, what kind of ghost stabs you with a knife?
That's what I mean.
Is this where the phrase "dance as if nobody's watching you" came from? This is exactly
probably, man.
Dance as if you're going to stab somebody.
That's Will Smith.
Stabby, clean the knife.
Right. I can't feel it. Now, there's people, these things have been showing up on TikTok all over, and it's like, folk are like, oh, no,
fish,
man.
Little fish, cunt in a coffin.
No, it's more like this. If I had more space, I'd show you. Like, because I don't want to bring up
the moves. He's got moves.
Let's try this, right? She's like this. Right,
jeez.
Take your headphones off.
She's like this. I mean, we're not going to get anywhere. She's like this.
That's me at every wedding.
I didn't really show you.
That's exactly how I dance.
I see Kevin McAllister's face in the background. He's horrified.
That's because Kevin's not wearing any pants.
What's up? Who wears pants on a podcast? Freak.
The rest of us.
Freak. Hi. It's mad. She dances this mad dance, right? And then folks see her and they're like, no, I've seen her now. And I wonder how it happens because they say that folk have died after seeing her. And it begs the question, how did they know that they saw her? Is it because, oh, well, she's dead on the street, stabbed, must have seen her? Or is it just like, no, there's that woman! Oh, dead now.
It's the same as all those. It's the same as all those kind of theories of like the Flying Dutchman that just leaves no survivors. But where the fuck the stories come from then? Like, it just doesn't work.
Kieran,
Aye.
the Flying Dutchman, do tell. What's that?
Mysticals.
Mate, the Flying Dutchman, was that not an episode of
Spanish.
Scooby-Doo?
Totally was.
Yeah, it was definitely in Scooby-Doo. I don't know if it was a Spanish Armada ship
We
or if
got
it was
this.
part of the English Navy, but it was basically a rogue kind of faction of the militia decided that they didn't want to serve the king anymore and serve their own pockets, and they became renowned for basically just pillaging everything that came down. That's where most pirates came from. They were part of the Navy and just thought, nah, bugger this for a laugh, I'm away.
So they're Tories.
Aye, but no.
Flying Dutchman.
Tories with some good get up and a boat.
Guys, I have another story, right? And we'll come back once we're done with my wee stories. We'll give an overview on it, and then we'll move on to someone like J-Mac who's googling ferociously right now to find something, right?
Oh no, I've got something.
Right.
I do have something.
So this is a true story of mine, right? Now I was there. Can I say it is what it is? I don't know, but there's a wee bit of backstory here. So, oh no, if I say it now, it's probably going to come out in that, like focal phone me in that. Right.
Go for
anyway,
it. Go for it.
So I have a friend, right? An old friend who I've not seen in 10 plus years, and his mum became a porn star, right? Anyway, before she went on to her life of seduction, right? She wasn't even a porn star. She was just regular old my pal's mum, right? And get this, her dad died, right? And she was proper sad because obviously her dad's dead. And she had this grandfather clock, right, that she bought because it reminded her of her time growing up where dad, who's dead. And one day she put me in the living room, right? I know you're thinking, but no, it wasn't. Right? Listen, for the
You
record,
missed out a word there. It was off.
for the record, there was nothing about her was ever dodgy of that. She just chose her own path later on in life. She was always class, just my mate's mom, right? No funny business. And just because they're porn stars don't make them perverts.
Nobody said it did.
You're convincing
The way you're
yourself, you're not us.
It's the way you're looking at me, J-Mac, right?
It's just my look. I've got resting. She's a pedo face. Well, I don't know what it is.
No, she was nothing but a great friend's mum, right? Anyway, she's like, yeah, Kevin, come in and check this out. Show me her phone. She took a picture of the grandfather clock, right? And she's like, look in the corner. See that? That's my dad. Shit, you're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grandfather clock, and behind the wee bit, it's like ding, ding, the wee stick that moves, right?
Pendulum.
Behind that,
Pendulum.
the pendulum. behind that is like a mirror. You know how you're picturing it properly here?
Mm-hmm.
And in that mirror, was shit you not, was a dude staring at, and she was like, "That's my dad. Show me a picture." That guy looked just like the guy in the picture, and I'm like,
So-
it wasn't like no exact, like it wasn't a Photoshop, right? It wasn't the exact picture, but it was enough to go, that is that same person that I'm seeing looking through this mirror. And I saw that and was like, fucking putting that on my MySpace, that shit's fucked up.
What I like is the fact that there was absolutely no need for you to out this woman as a porn star for that story.
Context, J-Max, storytelling. Come on.
Right. At what point in the story required that element of information?
Context. We're creating the scene. Making you care about the character. You've been on the journey.
Okay, I accept that. Can I just say, Fee, I love your cup. What is that?
Oh.
That's like one of the wee dancing berries or something.
No,
What about
it's Mr. Hollywood. See him?
Mr. Hollywood.
Aye,
Yeah, for Planet Hollywood restaurants.
Planet Hollywood, yeah.
I've never been there. I've heard that it's crap.
I think it's closed down now, is it not?
Probably.
I heard the only
I
good
got-
thing about it was the cups.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. He sits with me on every podcast.
The dungeons.
Oh,
It was about 15
pretty
quid
cool.
a cup. My wife's like, you chuck it out. I'm like, see, any
No.
cup. There's a reason I'm surrounded by cups in here. It's because my wife wants to chuck them out. And if I take them in here, then she doesn't have to look at them, so they don't get chucked out. A baby Yoda sitting there now.
I've got Aldi Fanta.
Fantasia.
Fantaldi. There we go. Fantaldi.
So that was a crazy story, yeah.
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 Did you ever see the
Aye.
clock itself?
The what?
Did you ever see the clock itself?
Aye, it was there. It used to ding all the time, 12 o'clock.
Just like she does.
Same,
So, and there wasn't just a photo of him.
I was going to
inside
say,
the
wasn't it like
clock.
it was an actual mirror instead of nothing else? No.
Swear to God, even looking at it, like, there's no way it was photoshopped. It was a picture taken on her phone. Do you know if I showed you a picture on my phone that isn't a photo that's been put on my phone, but clearly a picture taken from my phone?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was that. And there's no way that was photoshopped. No chance. I looked at it and was like, that's no photoshopped.
Things-
What
This
age
this
were
was
you when you saw this?
So pre-porn starts. I was about 11, 12.
God, with a porn
Right,
star at
so-
that age, Jesus.
so is this pre-smartphone? So this is like original camera phone sort of thing.
This is Sony Ericsson era where your music could be on your phone, and that was
Well,
the
she
best
had
era.
a Sony erection, but there you go.
No, it was me that had the Sony erection. She had a Sony.
That reminds me, we need to talk about Sony Bean at some point.
Hey, we
Do
should.
need to do
Hey,
Sony
we can
Bean.
go to his gaff. We can go to that
Yeah, we
place.
can.
You can actually
Yeah.
go in.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's load up the van and go.
Yep.
The mystery machine. Let's get in.
There's a guy around the corner from where not here, but my house that's got a van decked out like the mystery machine, and it's
I've
amazing.
seen it floating about, and I
it's
just
amazing.
as it passes, I just go that.
Yeah,
There was
it's amazing.
There was a guy in Whitburn for years that had an A-team van. Do you remember that?
Mate, lived across the road from me.
Ah,
Lived
Did he?
across the road from me. Used to pass
Aye,
outside my house.
Don't get me wrong. It was like clearly like a transit, but it was done up exactly like the A-team van. I think he
The
used to
issue
paint
with that
himself
one-
black as well. You can't really do that now.
Mate,
No,
the
no,
issue with that though is his garden was fully like Ken Manky Frankie if you're still game. Like his house, that's what his garden was like, eh? So it's like, yeah, 18 van, hey, eyesore.
That's why
That's
the
what
18 man's there. It's to draw your eye away.
Aye.
Hi, it was to make you go off for oh.
Excellent.
So it's an interesting story. I love photographs of ghosts, man, because I think there's something like I'll be trolling through fucking Schmick or something, right? And these paranormal videos come up, and every one of them creeps me out, even though I know most of them are fake. But the photographs of ghosts are always really creepy.
Have anybody here ever captured a picture on their phone? Yeah, ghost.
I thought I had one for a long time. It was for Bothwell Castle, and I took a kind of picture down this big shaft.
He's like that.
Like a pal's mouth.
Can't write this,
Zoom-
honestly. It's just
Zoomed right in, you could see the face of a wee crab. No,
That's manging.
I know. But I can like when I took the photo, like it was like this was back in the days where I still thought orbs were a thing, and there was just like hundreds of wee orbs in this one. So I zoomed in on them, and one of them proper looked like a guy's face for that era, with like that kind of long, stupid Lord Farquaad hair.
Did it have two eyes and a nose and a mouth?
it does look
yeah.
like a face.
But
That does sound like a face.
but the problem is now that because they're doing this podcast and studying things a bit more in depth, I know that it was just pareidolia. It's just me looking for something that probably wasn't there. Hey, Janice.
is in the house. Oh,
What up?
Jan Child is here. I know. Hi, Jan.
Hey.
Riff Rider, do a gaming stream, please, one day. Yeah. We'll play Snakes
No.
and Ladders at some point.
Actually, we were going to play Atmosphere. Remember that?
Yes, we need to. By the way,
Yeah, I've still
we
got
need
it.
to.
I've still got it.
Good.
So,
You need to get my
Fee, have you ever heard the Atmosphere?
Nah, not at all.
God damn it, you young. Atmosphere was a board game that you played alongside a VHS tape that was playing. It lasted an hour. It was hosted by this guy called The Gatekeeper, and it was one of the best kind of scary games ever. Yeah, we do need to play it. I think there was like 4 or 5 of them. Kind of
There was a couple of different versions and stuff.
Yeah. But the
Something's
one I
quite
had,
serendipitous, by the way, it happened to me. Right? This is kind of how they say, put it out in the universe and it'll come to you. Right? I was walking down the street the other day. I think it was
You
today.
saw your pal's maw.
No. Right? This benefits you, J-Mac, right? So I'm walking down the street and I'm like, I start humming a song and it's a theme song to Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere. And I was like, I still need to get J-Mac to watch that. He's never watched it. And I need to talk to him about it, but I can't until he's watched it. So I was like, oh, mad. Anyway, there's a shop. Oh, it's got DVDs and books. Walked in. I was like, there it is. And because I'll not give you any of mine, because mine is special edition, I was like, I'll just buy this for you. So next time I see you, J-Mac.
Thanks very much. Awesome. I love how you said that you walked by a shop that had books and DVDs in it. It was a charity shop, wasn't it?
That's the only shop that has them now. I could see them from the window though. I was like, oh, I wonder what's in there.
Who's singing?
What song is that? What song
I was
is that?
starting to get creeped the fuck out because he
So
was
bad.
frozen. I could just hear singing.
What song?
Road to Nowhere.
Oh, you watched it as well?
No, I just know the song.
Oh, okay.
I have seen it. I've seen it years ago, but yeah.
So good.
My dad took a picture of a ghost. I need to get it off him. I'm pretty sure he was, I don't know if I remember the story correctly, but I'm pretty sure he was down in York. I think. Or was he either in York or he was on holiday somewhere. And they were at this like really old, like beat down village and took a picture. And it's genuinely of this abandoned house with a person in the window. And there's 2 photos back to back, and one the person's there, the other photo that isn't.
All right,
I need to see if I can get it off my dad, because he did send it in, and he sent me it across, and I was freaked out by it and all that. But like, I need to get it, but it's a good photo.
Make sure you get that for the next one.
Absolutely, yep. I need to get that.
So, who has other stories?
I've been told a story.
Oh, get it.
Of. Because I'm down in this neck of the woods, there's loads of little, like, old historic towns and villages and stuff on the East Coast.
And very little Wi-Fi.
And diddly squat, apparently, yeah, 0 signal. And the weather's been pretty guff today, actually, so I probably might explain it. But there's a famous, like, airfield far from here that has, like, phantom planes that go across every now and again that all the military guys have seen, all the local residents have all seen it. There's like investigations where they've heard them, took videos, been able to find them. Like there's a well-documented thing. And the base is actually about 20 miles from here. So at some point while I am here, I would like to go across and see if I can find out where that is. But ironically enough, I got told this story by a guy who watches our podcast. I got talking to him one day when I was in the jacuzzi, as you do when you're sat in a jacuzzi.
Was he in there with you?
Yeah, I was sat chatting to this boy, right? And this was, I think this was genuinely maybe October, November, I think I told him. And when I was back down mid-January, I met him again. And he was like, I listen to your podcast, you guys are great. Well, I was chatting away. And actually did spread the word, and our podcast has taken a wee following down here, which is quite pleasant. Yeah. So it was him that was telling me the story, and he actually works on that airfield. and has said if we would like to, we are able to go to it. I just need to get a lot more details from him and when and all that jazz. But there's always an option for stuff to be done down here as well, apparently.
We should camp out. We should camp out.
I'm saying there's so many things. I'm even on the way to here. Like, for starters, we do go through, or we can go through York, one of the oldest, most historic towns in the UK. Like,
Yeah,
there's so many.
that's the thing though. Like, that's the good thing about the UK in general is the fact that when you say one of the oldest towns in the UK, you know it's fucking old because the UK is so old. Oh, sorry, these Isles, the British Isles, are so
British
old.
Isles are probably old. Isle that, and I reckon we should go across to Ireland as well because there's some cool places in Ireland. There's the what's it called? The Devil's House. It's called.
Oh,
I think I've seen this on something. I think I don't think it was Most Haunted. I think it might have been Ghost Adventures. I think Ghost Adventures came to Ireland and they did.
Yeah.
They did the Bell Witch. Was that not? It's not Irish, is it?
Yeah. No, the Bell Witch is no. It's basically this Irish house, and it's a big manor house. And the story is of the guy who went and apparently had a knock on the door of this guy that came in. And there's a very similar story, actually, of one of the manors in Scotland. It's very similar to the one in Ireland. Except the one in Ireland was kind of proven to have happened. And basically, this guy gets a knock on the door on a stormy night. Guy comes in, and they sit and they it's a hospitality thing, it was out in a storm, right? Come in, you come, whatever. And the guy comes in and he sits down and they have dinner and whatever. And then he sits and he's playing cards with the guy, who's turned up and they're sat and playing cards. He drops the cards and turns out to pick it up. And the guy doesn't have legs. He's got like hoofs. He's got like goat feet. And then it all.
I have heard this. This has been in one of these shows.
Yeah, been in loads of shows and stuff, but it's quite a big story, and it's one of Ireland's most like famous places. And it's. I only found out. Yes, Glencoe's incredible.
Absolutely.
To go see the site of the massacre of Glencoe. With the McDonald's and
Campbell.
who was it? Campbell at McDonald's. Brutal bastards.
I hope McDonald's got fucking done in, man, because they never give you sauce half the time. You don't even get the fucking meal with it.
Actually, to be fair, they did. It was the Campbells that did it.
The sausage folks.
No,
Old McDonald had a farm and Campbell burnt it down.
No, it's Old McDonald had a farm.
So yeah, we definitely go across. There's places in Ireland, and there's I need to get the actual name of this. And also, I want to point out as well, earlier on, I was wrong. I stated the Flying Dutchman was from the English Army. It wasn't. Under the English King, it wasn't. It was Dutch, obviously, but it was part of the. Obviously, yeah, but because we expanded so far, I thought they initially fell under that, but it wasn't. It was the Dutch East India Company that they actually flew under, and not the East India Company, which was the English equivalent. So, my bad.
I love how quickly you were able to Google your own information and correct yourself, man. That's amazing.
It's I hate Google.
Being wrong.
Fee.
It's just my thing.
No, hey, we're all wrong sometimes, eh, Jamie?
It does happen from time to time. Fee, do you have any interesting wee stories for us?
well, I do actually have one. My dad was just telling me, like before we came on. So basically, he was chatting to this guy in the swimming pool, right?
Was it Kieran?
It happens. It happens.
Yep, it happens. Who has been watching this TV show, which I don't have the name of, but I'll get it. And it's basically about people talking about their near-death experiences. And like this woman, right? So she apparently like collapsed and died while she was in Peru in a forest. Someone got her out of the forest, got her help. The ambulance people like brought her back to life. And she was able to tell them exactly what they'd done to bring her back to life. And they were like, how did you know that? And she was like, because I was floating above my body and I watched all of this. So like she was trying,
man.
right? And then other encounters in the show were saying that people who died, like they went and they saw the light, but then they heard a voice saying, it's not your time yet, go back. And then they would wake up and they were alive again.
So
This sounds like the show that you told us about, Kevin.
That's right, man. That's some show. She's like that. Felt like I was dead, but I wasn't dead. It was fucked up, man.
Aye, that's the whole show in a nutshell. Nobody has to watch it now.
That's it. The whole thing's done.
Yeah, but the scientists.
I can maybe kind of give an explanation for part of that. I think.
Well,
So
wait,
annoyingly,
wait for it. Wait. that leads me on to something else, right? Let me talk about that first.
Go.
Right. Have you heard of a guy called Robert Bigelow before?
Is he related to Bam Bam Bigelow?
I don't know who that is.
Unlikely.
I think
Right,
he's a gigolo.
Close enough, yeah. Close enough. No, he's an American businessman. He's founded like Bigelow Aerospace, which is like an aeronautics
Alright.
company.
He's also
Budget
Flying
Suites of America owns that. He founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, which specializes in like UFO and paranormal cases. All right,
Okay.
and for like in 2000 and maybe not 2090, I don't know. Right, at some point he bought Skinwalker Ranch, right, and he owned it for like 10 years. Right. Okay, this leads me into it. So in 2021, he created some kind of program, and it was to discover life after death. And if you were able to die and come back to life, he would give you $1 million to like tell him about like your experience and how you survived death, and like that's an actual thing.
He's
So-
like, here, I've done it. He's like, canny.
It was going to get you to die for him to see if you could come back.
Basically, the study was the existence of life after death. Yeah, and if you survived it and came back, and he'd give you $1 million.
Flatliners.
Aye, basically. If you
That's
look
not a
up,
bad price.
I
It's
mean,
not a
yeah,
bad
if you look
price.
up Bigelow
It's a bad
Institute
price.
for Consciousness, look that up. It should tell you about it.
The risk involved, though, man.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, right, so if I come back, I'm a millionaire. If I don't, I'm dead. Aye.
Yep.
Right, be back in a minute. Dead.
Okay. Kieran, you can go now. I'm done.
Right. I was just thinking, like, again, this is a really shit thing to do because, like, I'm a complete avid believer in all this, but at the same time, the logic in my head's telling me that there's ways to explain some of it.
Mhm.
And if you, so say you die, right? If you're on an operating table and you die, and you slowly kind of drift away, and there's a certain amount of time as well you can be technically declared dead before you go brain dead due to lack of oxygen and all that stuff. And within that time frame, that can feel like an obscene amount of time, it's not. It's just maybe 3 minutes. I think it's two and a half minutes or something stupid number like that. But within that section of your body shutting down, the last sense to go, the last thing is your hearing. Hearing is the last thing to go, which even includes if you've had your head removed from your body, you're still able to hear things happening. You're able to hear the blood leaving.
How do you know that? Who was like that? Yeah,
Well, you can check. But the thing is, you can check through
Still hear
MRI scans and sensory electronic scans to detect what part of the brain resonates the longest after death.
Right.
So, on that sense, if you're dying on a table and there's doctors around you, and the doctors get invested in their work, they want you to live, as most doctors will, and they're like, no, you can't die. You need to live, and you need to take this, another shock to the heart to kick it back into place. You're hearing somebody telling you it's not your time to get back up, all these things. And I'm not saying that's the answer, but that's one of the answers to that question of why do people hear or be able to give explanations of what happened to them after they died, on what a doctor did to bring them back to death. Because doctors and between doctors and surgical nurses and all that also have to talk to each other to say, right, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that. You've heard these things, maybe not subconsciously heard it as a conversation, but heard it as a list of attributes of things that have happened to you. So that's a possibility. But also at the same time, it's still really cool. So
yeah. And like, how does that explain her potentially astral projecting? Because it's kind of like what she said. She was like, I was floating above.
Well, that could just be your imagination of you're in a hospital because you've been told you're in a hospital.
Well, get this right.
If you got an unconscious body, what's the first thing you say? I've got you, you're here, you're in a hospital, you're doing that. So your brain automatically goes, fuck, I'm in a hospital. What's that look like?
Good point, yeah, good point.
There you go.
See my my great gran. My dad had went in to speak to her while she was dying, right? Because she was in a bad way. She was just old, but she was like ready to go. But then she got like a big boost of health and woke up, right? And then she died after that.
Yeah.
Right. But get this. She said while she was lying there, quite vegetable like, right? That she said, here, I could hear what you were all saying. She says, even though I was no there, I could hear you. And then she died. So that confirms it.
That's called the surge, and it's basically your body's last way of inducing all elements there.
Kevin,
What
are you
is
bringing that face up?
Because that's freaking me out.
What face?
It's Kevin. Kevin, stop
is.
it.
What are you talking about?
It is.
What? Click. What are you talking about? Click.
Oh, Kieran, you were going to tell us about Loftus Hall. What's that?
That's the Loftus Hall is the name of the Devil's House in Ireland. That's it.
Ah, I see.
Can we stay over there one night? Is that,
It's
is that a
currently, I
thing?
think it's currently shut to the public, but I'm pretty sure you can organise to go there.
Stop putting that
Just leave
face.
him up there. Leave him up there. It's kind of cool. What are we going to call him?
Fred.
Valda Scott.
What's it look like?
Scott.
Valda Scott. With Morton Scott. Morton.
Bend over.
Bend over. J-Mac, don't think you're getting away with it, lad. Come on, cough up. What you got?
Mm-hmm.
Right. A couple of things I want to talk about. The first thing is the whole UFO thing. Obviously, there's been a bit of a surge recently in UFO activities and sightings. One of them being that the Americans just shoot them down because that's what America does, boy. But I saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the Pentagon have come out and said that there's a good possibility there's an alien mothership somewhere in our solar system right now. Now, where they get that information, I don't know. But a bit of me is like, please let this happen. I really am fancying an invasion right about now. But
I'm a fan.
But see, the thing is, it casts my memory back to that documentary that we watched called Unacknowledged. Now, Fee, if you've never seen this documentary, I don't know, Kieran, if you've seen it or not. It's a great documentary on UFOs, and it brings into play like Project Bluebeam and stuff, where they're basically saying that once the governments of the world have kind of run out of trying to scare us by constantly being bickering with each other and threatening nuclear war, they will fake an alien invasion.
Oh, for God's sake. Why?
Basically, do you know why? I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I don't normally subscribe to all this stuff. But what they're saying is that the alien invasion will make the world unite, just like it does in fucking Independence Day. That's about time those Americans did something, because we were all fucking hopeless.
It makes me think of that. I don't know if you remember this, but there was an episode of the Powerpuff Girls, right? And aliens,
trying to save the world.
Aliens invaded, but the aliens were like broccoli, and they had to like eat all the broccoli.
Yes, mate, they were large. They were fucking destroying the town and everything, right? And then they're just like that. We gotta eat them, Bubbles. It's like, I am Mojo. Yep,
That's literally it, wasn't you?
Awesome.
I think the biggest takeaway for this conversation is that Kevin used to watch the Powerpuff Girls.
And I know the theme tune.
Proudly. I love
Sugar.
Powerpuff Girls.
And
everything nice.
Ingredients chosen to perfect. Yep. These were the ingredients
So-
chosen to make the perfect little girl. Professional Tornum accidentally added an extra ingredient concoction. Chemical X. Thus the Powerpuff Girls were born. Using their ultimate superpowers. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil.
It
was amazing. It was amazing.
Those were the days. I never understood that.
He's fucking. He's done. He's finished.
The big
Sorry,
scary
sorry.
devil guy, man.
Oh, him. The weird transvestite devil.
Hey, man. Sam Spliff.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly who it was.
Anyway, that was class. Powerpuff Girls, man. They were trying to tell us shit back then. They were trying to tell us shit.
Hey,
I think
the
there's
Simpsons
a
have
lot.
told us everything.
Aye,
Mate,
there's
The
a lot of
Simpsons-
things. There's a lot of things in pop culture that have been trying to tell us things, and I do believe that theory that was put out in the film Paul with Simon Pegg, that they've been constantly drip feeding us the images, the aliens, the way that they actually look, so that when they actually do get revealed to us, that we won't just shit ourselves.
But why are they hiding them from us anyway? Imagine
Because it screws up everybody's idea of what life is. That religion is gone. It's
Kev, we
gone.
can't-
As soon as aliens show up, religion is fucked.
Humans can't even deal with humans of a different color, let alone something like this, the different species.
can.
Like that what we can collectively, the four of us are awesome. As a species, the human beings are unable to deal with such differences.
Mhm.
That's
It's a shock.
ridiculous
It's
when
a
you think
shock
of it,
thing.
yeah.
It's just so that we don't freak out too badly. But I'm
Like,
totally
remember
with J-Mac on this.
Remember in the film Paul where they see the alien and then it was Clive, which I think was Nick Frost's character, just goes and faints and pisses himself. I think that's genuinely how the world would react.
Get this, Tom DeLonge, Blink-182. When he went on to Joe Rogan's podcast, now I found him to be quite obtuse, but he was like saying, I had to leave Blink to go and do some alien shit, and the people. He's like, the people want me to drip feed aliens to you so that you'll be ready for when it happens. He's like, I don't know if you listen to any of the early Blink-182 stuff. They have a song called Aliens Exist, man. Listen to Angels and Airwaves. That's like a trip out to fucking space, right? Tom's out of that shit, and I think there are certain government agencies that are trying to drip feed aliens.
It's in pop culture everywhere. You look at even you go classic Pink Floyd, that entire album. The Wall, that whole album, you've got to just be on something to understand it. Fleetwood Mac's another one. All these kind of things. It's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere.
Think about, here's the funny thing though. Think about how many depictions of God have been given to us on screen compared to aliens.
Yeah.
There's a lot more
Morgan
aliens.
Freeman.
I'll tell you now.
we all know it's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
I hope it is. I hope it is.
Although I just heard the best joke the other day, actually, that Chuck Norris narrates his life. So that fucking
my favourite Chuck Norris fact is that he can win a game of Connect 4 in 3 moves.
He can slam a revolving door.
Fire has to look for Chuck Norris escapes.
Wait. Chuck Norris's daughter lost her virginity. He went out and got it back.
He once went to the Virgin Islands. Now they're just called the Islands.
Yep. Giraffes never used to exist until Chuck Norris punched a horse in the face.
Fee's not a big fan of the Chuck Norris facts.
Chuck Norris jokes are the best. Chuck Norris does not do push-ups. He just pushes the world away.
He was once bitten by a cobra, and after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
I heard. In fact, this is the last one, and it's bad, but I found it funny. It was, Chuck Norris once went to a feminist meeting and left with his shut eye under a sandwich.
That's pretty damn good. So back to the paranormal. It's not like us to go off on tangents. That never happens. What are all your thinky thoughts on what I've just said about what might be happening?
I'm all for it, man. I think that especially when you look at, there's so many things in the universe as well that they can't, the void that they don't know what it is. Just this big void in space that they have no idea what it is. It doesn't give off any radiation, doesn't give off any gravitational forces. All of these things, they're unable to. They still don't know what black matter or dark matter is technically. So there's entirely possible that there's something hiding in the universe that we haven't got a clue about. Absolutely, I'm all up for that.
Yeah.
Well, here's something for you. Of course, it's all happening out there, right? But I think we'll find all out with audio, right? Check this Shiaznaz out. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of shine a light on this here on, but no sure. Listen to this. This is what Jupiter's supposed to sound like. Hear that? Do you hear that?
No. Barely.
J-Mac, you getting some yet?
Yeah, but I can't make it out.
Hear it now?
I can hear it a wee bit. It's getting louder.
I think it's just coming through.
Sounds like.
I think it's just coming through your mic. It's really quiet.
Space dust does sound really weird. They released audio of what the universe sounds like, and it is that sort of typical space age sound that's used in 2001: A Space Odyssey, things like that. That's how space sounds, because as much as it's a vacuum, it does have particles that hit off each other and create sound. It's just a thing. But I think my thing with aliens is distance. So because so say you're an alien, right? And you are 65 million light years away and you're looking at the Earth. The way that light travels is obviously a light year is 1 year for a child to travel that in space. You're looking at the Earth 65 million years ago. So you're looking at the Earth with dinosaurs on it. No alien's going to go, that's a good place to go. So maybe there's a possibility that they haven't seen what we're at now for us to be able to seem viable for them to come. That's one theory. Because distance doesn't make it plausible because we're too far away.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kev's froze or if he's asleep.
No, I was just trying to compute that shit, man.
That'll be monkeys banging its cymbals together again.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
You like it? What about yourself, Fee? What's your opinion?
I think they're already here, to be honest.
Yeah, look at Kev.
Yeah.
Fee, fucking shut up, right?
We've been told under no circumstances to give out that information. Come on.
I mean, if I turn up dead now, you'll know why.
Like if I was to find out that Benedict Cumberbatch was an alien, I would not be surprised in the slightest.
He looks like one.
That's so bad.
It does the way it's like everything in his face looks like it's been drawn with like a fucking set square. Like it's like what the best job that aliens could do of making a human. Like that'll do.
Do you know what? If that's the case, they've done well. I love him.
Oh, I think he's great, but he's such a weird looking cat.
He's not the Grinch.
No.
Oh, he's my Grinch, mate. I much prefer that one.
I will fight you. I will fight you.
No Christmas movies.
See you next time I see you. See you next time I see you. Don't.
Fee, what's your logic on them being here?
I don't have any. That's what I want to believe.
Fair. Are you going with like the reptilian thing, or are you just going?
No, I was reading something, or
the Bob Lazar Area 51 stuff. Or are you going?
Maybe. I think there's apparently theories to suggest that they live like in the Earth's core, and they're just going to like come up and take over one day. I quite
Hollow
like
Earth
that.
theory. Yes. Yeah.
Potentially, or there was some kind of base thing as well up in. I don't want to say Alaska. Somewhere there's maybe some kind of base. North Pole. Yep, close enough.
Well, it's technically Antarctica, but North Pole's
Antarctica. That's one. I don't know. I just feel like they were probably here before us. So why are they not still here?
Could an alien no just be like a smell, right? Or a liquid,
J-Mac.
right? Because I've seen people that look like that, right? So
be very careful.
So the thing is, right? How far removed from aliens are we? I've defo put a wee bit of hair on that and a moustache. Tell me you don't know somebody.
You talking about me, you prick?
No, you've not got a moustache. But look,
right? I'm just thinking that
apart from the asshole ears.
But all they can hear is
so they've been communicating with you this whole time.
Like he just called me an asshole.
No, because you fart all the time.
I know. I'm saying that's what they're saying, but I'm communicating. It's like he just called me an asshole.
Right, but look at apart from the black eyes, right? They're fairly similar to us, right?
Yeah, but that's because we classify them as humanoid objects to make them less terrifying.
No, but like, what's to say that they're 65 million years away and they fucking copied us, man? They look exact same as us. Like, come on, you're that far away.
They could just be what we become.
I like that theory. I like the theory that the visitations that we're getting are ourselves in the future to work out why we ended up looking like this.
Well, we know what country made it.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
What? What? You're all thinking it? That's an Englishman, clearly.
All opinions based in here are not necessarily that of the Jibber collective as a collective, but of the individuals talking. But no, I think there could be something. There could be something in that theory. But something else I heard about recently. Well, I heard about a while ago, but it was reinforced recently.
You're
Was
laughing like
that-
I'm not even making sense, but it fucking does.
Shush.
If I took
Shush.
5 pictures, if 5 people and I said, pick which one this guy's most likely like,
You have
Right.
to stop.
and if you fail, you die. Let's see what one you fucking pick.
In your defense, I might regret saying this, but in your defense, the program Ancient Aliens did venture the possibility that certain people on the planet are alien human hybrids.
Yes.
But again, we'll leave it up to the audience to be racist enough to work out which one it is.
Although, I wanna meet that
correct
man.
as they come. I'm just
I want to
saying.
meet that man.
Which one?
The
Which
ancient
one?
aliens boy.
This guy.
Aye.
Cool.
So something that I found out a while ago about was it was a nuclear missile test, and you can see. I'm just going to keep talking. You
Yeah,
can
sure.
see some kind of UFO essentially firing lasers at this thing and essentially disabling it. Right now, there have been multiple accounts since the end of the Second World War, when the nuclear arms race started, of these spherical objects, not dissimilar to the ones that have been seen recently, spherical objects that are essentially scouting nuclear test sites and fucking with the stuff. There was, I think, in Russia and America, there was an incident where one of these things activated the nuclear weapons and deactivated them, just to go fucking watch what yous are doing.
Yeah.
And I
think
think
could
they
be
might
a thing,
actually be here. I think they might actually be here to sort us out, because things are just getting out of hand. And I think they might actually be our savior, our lords and saviors.
Right, yeah, man.
Even-
Put the
even-
Bible away, man.
Amen.
The thing is, like, even prior to the
Alien.
nuclear wars race.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Even prior to the nuclear war race, throughout the whole of World War II, like both Germans and British pilots admitted seeing stuff in the sky
Yeah.
when they were fighting out battles. They were like, that wasn't planes that went past us. Like, those were not planes that were taking out other things. Like, it's just, I think you might be right that humans genetically are pretty screwed, and I think either we're that important to the sustainability to the galaxy, or they're just taking pity on how pathetic we are. But either way, I think there's a big possibility we're being guided.
And I think that's why I love the idea of this mothership maybe actually being in the solar system,
Just kicking about, just like
I think we're about ready for the big reveal. I think we're now at a point where
given how this year's gone alone.
Yeah.
I know, it's only March.
What's the chances though that it's like some outside, like that it's some mad shit that the Russians have made? Like, is that not realistic, or is this shit
No.
too, like?
No, because the specific example I was talking about, there was reports from both Russia and America that this had happened to their nuclear things, and China at that point wasn't involved.
No.
What's
so
the both
that's
in
your
on it?
that's your three big superpowers, right? And China wasn't involved in the arm race, as far as I'm aware. If there's any World War II historians or sorry, any mid-20th century historians that are watching this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was just between America and Russia, the same as the space race, America, Russia. They seem kind of destined historically to always beat each other's throats about something. They might make up for a little while, and then there's always going to be something else that's going to just kick something off, just to keep everybody in a constant state of fucking fear. Now, stop bringing that fucking thing up. It was nice while it lasted, guys. I'll see you later.
Is that not just what's his name from American Dad?
That's like Roger. It's like Roger's disguises. Aye.
It is.
Well, I reckon that's what it is. Roger's one of them, and that's again another show that it's a pop culture thing to say. Like here.
Do you know what? One of my favourite ever lines from that show was Roger was eating a bagel, or what you think is a bagel. He's like, he takes a bite. He's like, "That's a nice bagel, probably because it's a donut." So I think that they are here. They're going to be here to help us.
It's like a Neil Brach piece. He's like that. Is the wee man? He done a sketch, and he's just sitting there with his brother on the hill. And it's like, oh look, aliens. He's like, oh no, we're fucked. He's like, no, they could be good ones. They could be good ones. Next minute, lasers start destroying the place. Oh fuck it, aye, badgins. They're badgins. And that's kind of Janice, Kevin, the grade school comedian. Oh, she's burst her telly. Janice has burst her telly. What did you do?
Poor Janice.
I know.
There is actually nothing more soul destroying than a broken telly. Like, you're just like, oh, because you can't even get them fixed anymore. Gone are the days where you can just put it in a TV repair shop and get it fixed. My wife accidentally smashed her TV. I phoned a TV repair place to see how much it would cost to get it fixed, and the guy on the phone straight away was like, "What kind of TV is it?" I was like, "LG." He said, "What size is your screen?" I told him. He was like, "Nah, get a new one."
Oh.
He's like,
How
first
did
of
your
all,
wife accidentally break your telly?
was that?
How did your wife accidentally break your telly?
My son was driving her nuts. He had one of these, see these wee plastic guns where you kind of pull the thing on the side and pull the trigger and it goes like that.
Yeah.
He kept just shooting it right next to her ear, like because he wanted something. She's like, "No, you're not getting it." He says, "I'm just going to keep doing this until you give me what I want." And he kept doing it and kept doing it. She grabbed the gun off. She grabbed the gun off him and threw it on the floor, and it bounced and smashed the telly.
So she was even more raging. Was she even more raging?
She was actually really upset. She sent me some voicemail messages. Like, I've just smashed the telly, and it was awful. But when I phoned to see about getting it fixed, the guy's like, "Nah, they don't really make enough replacement screens to do repairs. It's a total throwaway society we're living in now. It's ridiculous. There's so much stuff that just gets thrown out that could easily be repaired if there was still a repair industry, but there's not. Things are getting made so cheaply now. Like this projector I've got in here is a pretty decent piece of kit, and it cost me 160 quid. If I get a year out of that, I'm just going to buy another one. You know, it's sad. It's sad.
Maybe we could do the witching hour repairs then.
That's not a bad idea. The stitching hour.
I've got a box of these that are LED, and they've got like the wee screens on it, right? And they stopped working, and I repaired them myself. Got a soldering kit, the whole thing. Now they work. I was like, I'm not paying nearly 200 quid for another fucking box of these. Couple of batteries off what's that website? It's a Chinese one. Get everything for AliExpress, right? So it's like £1.50 for 2 batteries that cost you 18 quid on eBay. You wait about a year till they arrive. Like,
is it Alibaba?
No,
Alibaba's the if you buy in bulk,
like a wholesale.
Yeah,
those are the ones. Those are the ones I fixed, and they work again. So I was quite proud.
Well done. Well done.
Man. Thanks.
Have you got a wee round of applause sound effect you can play right now? Or
I think it's on the other one when we're not doing this one. No, but we're going to have some. We'll put.
What is this?
This is my celebration. Let me have this.
This was for his porn story earlier on.
Yeah.
It was, and I forgot to use it. Grandfather clock, guy. I've got something that swings, and it's not a pendulum.
Oh, Christ.
I can take the L out of clock any day.
Sorry. Janice's speechless look.
Do you know what? I don't blame her.
So, to go back to ghosties and spirits for a wee while, I did find a really interesting story. Now, this is from The Mirror. I have to give The Mirror credit for the story. It was written by a journalist by the name of Adam Toms. Two journalists, Adam Toms and Charlotte Hawes. Okay, now, this is the story of a 64-year-old occupational therapist. Her name was Helen Elwood, and she had been an atheist all of her life up to a certain point, and something happened that completely changed her opinion on it. She started believing in the afterlife when she saw the soul, she saw the spirit leave her friend's hamster's dead body. Yeah, you heard that story right. She did not believe in anything, and then she seen a hamster ghost and was like, "That's me, fucking. I'm right on the
Could it
side
just
of
be
the."
somebody vaping?
She claims she saw her friend's dead hamster's spirit rise up from his body in a bizarre paranormal event that changed everything for her. She claims to be slightly psychic. Now, I don't know how you can be slightly psychic. I think you either are or you aren't. Most likely, you fucking aren't, because it's. I'm still really on the fence with this thing. So we all wonder where our pets go when they die. This is a quote for her. We all wonder where our pets go when they die and whether we'll ever see them again. No, you won't. As a youngster, I would have said they go nowhere. I was skeptical of everything spiritual and terrified of death. There were no angels to take care of us, and heaven was a fairy tale. That all changed when my friend's hamster Beryl died in my hands. Seeing her soul rise from her body changed everything. Here's the best part. She says that when it happened, she felt it get lighter.
But that's a fact, though, that does happen.
I know, but you can't feel it happening. It's a difference of, I think, 3 grams. You could put 3 grams of something in your hand. You're not going to know you've got it in your hand. Ask anybody that likes to take cocaine.
A bit specific there, G-Mac.
That's the only thing I know of that they deal with in grams.
It's not the only thing you've held that's 3 grams.
I
love the laugh. It's like, no.
I was talking about that time I was baking fairy cakes.
Something was fairy tale like. Something was.
So this woman saw a hamster ghost, and that changed her mind on the paranormal. I found that
no sold.
No sold.
No concrete enough.
I don't know. I mean, we've got souls. Animals will as well. Hamsters, barely an animal.
You're going to go to the big wheel in the sky.
No, but look at it this way, right? Okay, so if everything has a soul, everything has a soul. So those wee poor chickens, I saw them the other day. I was driving away, and I'm like that, and I look over, and then there's all these wee chickens like that. Man, this is fucking pish. Let us out. We're away to get fucking done. And I'm like, I feel these lads, but there's fuck all I can do. There's nothing I can do. They're like, you can fucking drive into the side of us, man. Let us all out. I'm like, you'll get caught. You're slow as fuck. Just wasting time. Right? That was the internal dialogue I had with him.
Where are these chickens about? Like in Tesco or like outside?
No, it was on the motorway.
It can't be that slow, man.
No, they were in a van looking depressed as fuck. And I think, what a shame. It's been born, right? Had a shite. Here, wait a minute. You know, like if you grow up poor, you don't know you're poor, you have a happy childhood. Maybe it's the same for the chickens. So, hey, this is class.
I bet they're talking to each other on that bus, on that truck, just like, oh, this was the one that Davey went away in a few weeks ago.
The movie Chicken Run. I love that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen that.
Oh,
mate.
Silly boy. Silly boy.
But then if you're going to be that sad about chickens dying, if they didn't taste so good, I probably would feel worse.
But here's the thing, though. If they've got a soul, right, and they make it up to the big gates, and they look down, there's some Viking fucking chewing down on them, right? Mate, you've got some karma when you get up there. If you go up there, man.
I'm not making it up there.
Imagine you get to the gates, man. It's like, right, listen, you've got to, like, anything that you've directly contributed to dying is waiting. You just open, it's like, an army of chickens and everything you met, just like, fucking get them, lads. Fucking cheeky now, eh? Fucking standing in your eh?
You stand there like, oh, I remember that one. That one tasted amazing.
You? Oh, I had you with chicken one day. You had some rice, you had tomato sauce. You were
It's like you
It's
didn't
like
even
you.
finish me, you prick.
It's like you scrawny wee prick. You were shite. You went in a curry.
Just loads of chickens, just with no hands. Like, oh, you were supposed to mean the wings, guys. That's what.
I like how you say chickens with no hands, like they've normally got hands.
Chicken man.
How weird would it be if imagine
If-
every animal had hands? Like
if
that,
you
like
want to be
human
really
hands.
technical, if you want to be really
Snake
technical,
could crawl.
I was going to say maybe not snakes, but if you want to be really technical, birds do have hands. Their bone structure just is elongated fingers, and that's what forms the structure of their wing. But that's just me being a dick.
Alright, so when we're pretending to fly, we shouldn't do this. We should do this.
Like the butterfly from A Bug's Life. Just yes.
So where was we?
Imagine
Where was
sharks
we?
had hands, man.
Oh God.
Fin structure. It's the same thing. Although they don't have bones, they have cartilage, but the premise is the same. It's formed pretty much the same way.
Sharks,
Same with whales.
Stuff, the stuff you know, Kieran.
sharks are quite sound. Anyway,
Same with whales. Whales fins are the exact same. Sam and Donna. I just found out as well. I've only just found out. I just put in this thing. Apparently, there's this thing called Weird Suffolk, right, which happens to be where I am. And I was looking for this. The Phantom Airmen of Great Waldingfield. What the hell? You think I could read? And that's not far from where I am, right? But I've just found out in 1916 in Aldeborough, which is the town that's maybe, I don't know, a stone throw that direction. 1916, there was a UFO sighting that was seen by several lawmakers and police personnel. 1916. That's quite cool.
Man, it sounds like you're in a wee interesting little part of the country down there.
It's a cool wee place down here, like, yeah. It's quite cool. The site I'm working on has obviously got a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of I've kind of given it away. I probably shouldn't be saying it, but there's a lot of unexploded shit, and they're starting to do testing for the ground, and they've got to do surveys and stuff. And the guys are pulling out like full munitions, like runs and stuff that were just because it was a training ground. So it was also a training ground and an impact zone for all the World War II WAF coming in from the German Air Force. So there's a lot of cool stuff on the ground here. There's a lot of cool stuff down here in general.
That's class, man.
Sounds like a haunting waiting to happen. That
Absolutely.
Oh,
and
that shit.
I don't know if I told. I just got told as well last week that apparently one of the guys who works on site seen a large feline that he thinks was one of the large big cats that roam around England. Apparently,
I've heard
No way.
yeah. Apparently, one of the guys down here said he's seen one. He was out on patrol at night. One of the security guards out on patrol at night, had like proper like military grade night vision goggles, could see everything, could see some birds, rabbits, whatever, and seen this like 3-4 foot long cat walking across the grass.
See that? I remember kind of thinking that these stories were bullshit, and then you actually read about it, and it was like in the 1970s with the Exotic Animals Act. They basically just said, right, nobody's allowed to own exotic animals anymore. If you own an exotic animal and you get caught, you will be either fined or going to jail. So essentially, everybody just chucked like fucking leopards and shit out the front door and went, "Good luck, son, buff," and that was it.
I think it's
almost like
entirely possible.
Aye, it's like our kind of alligators in the sewers. This is what we've got. People did just release these fucking wild animals into the wild, and a lot of them maybe couldn't survive due to the climate, but a lot of them probably could and adapted.
The thing is, you don't need that many to create a stable population. You really don't. Because they'll live for maybe 20 odd years at a push, and then they'll just fire back and forward, and then every 5 years they need to meet somewhere to mate. You only need 3 to 4 stable pairs to make a standing population across the entirety of England. It's perfectly doable.
Does that make them inbred?
They probably will be, yes.
All these leopards walking about like, you guys, want to do some fucking?
Trust you.
They probably will be, though. You're absolutely right. Unless they're
It's like,
falling down the hill, and then that way they're on a roll, technically.
Maybe that's why they're not attacking us. They're that inbred that they're just friendly. They're like, oh.
But the thing is, they probably have no reason to fear humans. They don't have no interaction with humans. They're that elusive anyway.
Yeah. So no, that's a cool thing. I like that. I like it. I like it a lot.
Class.
Aye. So this is the part of the podcast where we go, right, guys, we really need to start getting out there and doing stuff, because this is what we say on every one of these podcasts, and trying to get any semblance of anything organized is just a nightmare between everybody trying to coordinate, especially Kevin. Fuck, man. You just don't get any time off. Kevin has...
My dinner just arrived.
I was going to say, it's insane the fact that, like, I'm the one that's not in the country, but you're the struggling factor.
No, I think, hey, book me and I shall come. Let's just put something in the calendar.
Is that not the name of one of your pals' mum's videos?
Exceptional. That is absolutely exceptional.
I think so, J-Mac. I think so. Listen, I was young. So, yes, this has been a phenomenal podcast. My dinner's waiting. Kieran's got bed to get to. Fee, what are you up to?
Bed.
Yeah,
I'm up at 5 too.
Oh, 5 to what?
Nice.
Listen, it's been fun.
I'm just going to sit and watch a movie or something. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice. So we hope everybody's enjoyed our paranormal chat tonight, because it's not a paranormal part about kind, yes, but it's no. And make sure to go ahead and follow Fee's podcast, Everything Coincidental, over on everywhere that you can find anything to do with podcasts. And tune in next week, where we'll probably do some really cool shit, like watch a movie or something like that, or review a movie, or some really cool stuff like that. But it's been fun. Hey, I love sitting chatting about paranormal stuff. Next Witching Hour or Paranormal Party, we'll get all 4 of us and we'll get a guest on, right? I've asked a few people, so I'm waiting on a few responses. Malcolm Robinson's no coming on the now. He's working on something. He says he will, just not for like a year or something, because he's working on stuff and he's turning away radio and all that stuff. So it'll not be him. But it'll be somebody else.
His book's pretty good.
No, hey, he's tuned into us before, by the way. He watched our episode about the Deckman stuff, because that's what his book's about.
Yes.
So he's familiar with us, but hey, we'll get a really cool guest for the next one, right? And we'll be like, bullshit, man, bullshit. No, they didn't feel like that. The fucking day. Until then, shall see you on the flip side. Take it easy, guys.
Also, rest in peace, Topol.
We'll get to Topol. Oh, he's dead, so he's on a paranormal pattern now. Right.
On behalf of both podcasts, thank you for joining us on the Witching Hour. Tune in next time as we continue our deep delve into the wonderful world of the paranormal. You can also find Kev, J-Mac and Kieran on the Jibber Jabber podcast, and Fee and Abby on the Everything Coincidental podcast. Don't forget to get in touch with us on the Witching Hour, so that we may continue our conversations and pass on your stories to the world. On behalf of everyone again, I say thank you, good night, and sleep tight.